So just got back from vacation, had a really great opportunity. We usually like to vacation around August. It's around our wedding anniversary. So we always try and schedule our vacations around then and had a really good time. Got to do a number of different things and kind of it was a mini road trip, honestly. We spent most of our time in Maine, but we stopped at Niagara Falls on the way down, which was really cool. Never been there before. We went to the American side of it, the US side of it, and very beautiful. And glad we decided to do that kind of around the halfway point. So it worked out on our way up to Maine. It was about the halfway point. So we stopped there, spent the night, went to Niagara Falls, did a little bit of shopping around the area, and then continued on to Maine after that. And I will have to say that I am as I go on more vacations and I visit more places, I'm becoming more and more a fan of the residential areas as opposed to the more touristy areas. We went to Destin, Florida for a honeymoon, so very touristy, very um, geared towards people coming in from other places. It's known for being a tourist destination, and it was good. We had fun, good place to visit. But then we visited South Carolina and Colorado and now Maine, and those 3 areas were more residential, so you had people that lived there, you had schools. It was a tourist destination, obviously people visit from all over the place, but it seemed a little bit more laid back. People live there just going about their normal day-to-day lives, and the way that it's structured, it's you're on vacation, but it seems like you're more at home at the same time. And so I really enjoyed Maine. It was Bar Harbor, Maine. So right there on the coast, really cool. Stayed in town. We could pretty much walk wherever we wanted to go, with the exception of the national park. So we spent a lot of time hiking in Acadia National Park. So it was very beautiful, and it was a it was very laid back, very chill is what I would say. Like I said, it's kind of like you're at home, but you're also at vacation. You're not in a hurry. You don't feel rushed to do anything. Some places I think you visit and you just feel like, oh, we have to go here and we have to go there, we have to go, and you're always just kind of rushing around. I don't really like that as far as vacations go. I'm more so, do we have a place to stay? Yep. Okay, we're just gonna wing it. We're just gonna wing it. I think sometimes people like to plan out their vacations in such detail that they never have a spare moment just to relax. And I just like relaxing. I just like being away. What we do while we're on vacation, the specifics of it, does not matter to me that much as long as I'm away. That's the whole point. I'm just getting away from life, getting away from the job, getting away from your responsibilities and all those different things, and just relaxing. And so I don't want to be on an itinerary. I don't want to be on a strict schedule. I'm just there to relax. That's what matters the most to me. And Maine is a place that it seems easier to do that. It seems easier just to say, yeah, we got a place to stay. Everything's within walking distance. We don't have to drive super far. We don't have to walk super far. We don't have to plan out our time to the specific minute or hour or anything like that. We can kind of just, oh yeah, do we want to do this? Sure. We were planning on doing it, but we can. And that's usually the way that I like things to be structured. Just very loose, very relaxed. And I liked Maine quite a bit. I will say my favorite destination so far has probably been South Carolina. South Carolina Beach outside of Charleston was really cool. And we stayed in an Airbnb. And I don't care that it's hot. South Carolina is kind of hot. That doesn't really bother me. I'd rather deal with the hot than the freezing cold. And so there's historical parts of it. There's a beach there, but it's also very laid back. And that one's probably my favorite one so far. And we went there a couple years ago. But Maine was really good. I had a good time. We decided on the way back to stop in New York City, and kind of similar to Niagara Falls, it was the halfway point. So We spent a couple nights there, made a day trip out of it, and I had been to New York once before and really enjoyed it. It's probably been about 8 or 9 years, 10 years since I've been, and I enjoyed it the first time we went, but this time was more so for my wife. She had never been, and obviously it's a humongous city. It's a lot different than anything else you can really experience, and so glad we got to do that as well. And I was kind of afraid that we would be rushing and in a hurry all day, but we weren't rushing too much. I mean, we did a lot of walking, but you can plan a good New York City day trip if you have a decent plan in place. I mean, I think we hit all of the a lot of the major things. We went to Ellis Island, we went to the Statue of Liberty, we went to Times Square and Central Park. And there were some things we didn't get to do, like we didn't get to go to a Yankees game, we didn't go see the Empire State Building, but we made a day out of it, and we had a lot of fun, and we got to see some new things. I got to see, things that I'd seen before, but I think it's just cool to be in New York City. And so finally got back, just wanted to give a little bit of an update. And one thing I would point out, I am learning that with these vacations, the most expensive thing is is the where you're going to stay. Paying for a hotel, paying for an Airbnb, that is the most expensive part of the trip. I mean, sure, you're gonna eat out a lot and probably do things you wouldn't normally do, and there's attractions that you have to pay for. Honestly, in New York, a lot of the attractions, it's not really that expensive. I mean, it's like 25 bucks a person. You go to Ellis Island, you go to the Statue of Liberty, you can walk around Times Square for free. It's not like you have to pay money just to walk around. But the most expensive thing is going to be finding a place to stay during your trip. That's like half the cost. It's like more than half the cost, honestly, when you stack up how much money you spend on everything else. So that's really the biggest thing, and I'm starting to learn that. But hey, we really enjoyed it and glad we were able to get away for a bit. And we're back. We're back and hopefully going to put out some more videos here soon. And there was one thing in particular that I wanted to talk about. I've been seeing this very viral post on Instagram and on social media, and it's of this uh, young woman, probably in her early to mid 20s, and she is essentially crying and complaining about her student debt, right? Student loans. And I guess she owes tens of thousands of dollars and she's been paying on it for 2 years, and she owes more than the post said that she owes more than she did 2 years prior because of the interest. So she's been paying on it this whole time, but she still owes more money than she did before. And so she's trapped, right? She's trapped in this really difficult spot where she has this humongous amount of debt. And I don't think that that is dissimilar to the situation that a lot of young people find themselves in nowadays. And the student loan problem and the student debt problem is a real problem, and it's affecting a lot of young people, I think. And of course, this is just the latest. This isn't the first time this has been a topic or a debate or anything like that. But of course, it sparks the classic debate that has been going on for a while now, and that is college a scam? Is college a scam? And I think the conservative, typically the more conservative point of view on this particular topic is that yes, it is indeed a scam when you look at what young people are getting out of college compared to what they put in. And you'll hear people, one of the main contributors to this idea is Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk talks about this all the time, that college is a scam. He's debated people about it. He goes to college campuses and talks about how college is a scam. And honestly, my from my point of view, it's I do not hold that conservative viewpoint that college is a scam. I do not agree with saying that college is a scam. I think that's a misrepresentation of what is actually going on. And when I think of something, if I say a scam, then whatever kind of organization or individual that is trying to get you to buy into that scam, they are withholding some form of information. I mean, you get spam calls, you get scam calls, people trying to trick you into giving them money. After I bought a house, There is a lot of junk mail that you get claiming that it's from your mortgage company saying that you owe this, that, or the other, or saying that you need to do this, or this is urgent, immediate, needs your attention, all of these different things. And it's a lot of it's trash, a lot of it's garbage. It doesn't mean anything. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to withhold information from you. And that to me is what a scam is. It looks like something that is profitable and good on the surface of it, but then there is some amount of information that is withheld that is making you make a certain decision in favor of the scam. And the problem that I have with saying this about college, the problem that I have about saying college is a scam is that all of the complaints about college campuses and the cost of college and the influence of college, all of these things are common knowledge. All of the complaints that conservatives take the stance that college is a scam, all of the complaints, all of the concerns, all of the issues that people have with college, these are all well documented. The information is readily available. The colleges are not trying to trick you. They're not they are not trying to trick you. They're not trying to, scheme you or scam you into giving up your money. All of the details, all the finer details about going to school are readily available for you if you're a young person thinking about going. And I will also say that this is also kind of the job of the parent. If you've got somebody who's 16, 17 years old and they've got a year or two left of school and they're thinking about going to college, you need to be able to educate them to a certain extent on the cost and the sacrifice that college is going to be. And then also as a young person, you need to be able, we all have internet, okay? We all have Google. We all need to educate ourselves on the true cost of going to school. And so like I was saying, none of this information, all of the issues that we have, none of this information is being hidden from you. If you have a desire to study in a particular field and you're hoping to use that field of study and apply it to a career someday, you can do all of the research beforehand. It's not like, oh, you get to college and I didn't know about this. You can do all the research beforehand. You can look up the schools that are around you and you can answer the questions. Do they have the degree that I want? And is it affordable for me? You can see how much does this cost per semester? How much does it cost per credit hour? Do they have room and board? How much does renting a house, how much does renting an apartment cost in this particular area? And then once I graduate, how long is it going to take me to graduate? Can I use these credits at a different school? Can I transfer to a different school to get a better degree or more experience? And then how much am I going to make with that degree after I get out of school? All of these are questions that can be answered before you step foot on a college campus. You shouldn't go into this blind. And if you walk into it blind, it is not the fault of the colleges. I'm sorry. Like, do colleges run somewhat like a business? Are they trying to make money? Are they trying to gain more influence? All these different things? Sure. But they're not hiding the cost from you. They are not hiding this information from you. You can look at where the college is, how much it costs, where I'm going to live, all of these different things. These are all questions that can be answered before. So saying that college is a scam, it makes it sound like that, oh, they're just scheming. They're thinking they're withholding information from you. So that way you'll give up tens of thousands of dollars and you'll be left with nothing. All of the questions that need to be answered can be answered beforehand. And it is your job as an individual because you turn 18, you're basically an adult. Okay. You're going to go out of state. You're going to go to college. You're going to live on your own. You're going to do things your own way. You need to understand these things. And you might say that it's unfair. You might say that you didn't understand or you didn't know. I'm just saying that you need to educate yourself before you go to school. And if it turns out to be something that you were not anticipating or more than you were expecting, that's not really the fault of the colleges. That's not their fault. That's not even, they're gonna say, "Well, that's not my problem." You can go on the website and you can talk to people that have gone to school there, and you can look up information about how much it's going to cost. So it's really not they look at it's like not their problem. We're running a business. We got faculty to take care of, we got buildings to pay for, we've got professors to pay for, we got all these things to pay for. It's not really their problem. And and you can say that about cost, but you can also say that about influence as well. And conservatives classically just kind of roll their eyes whenever you mention college. It's like, well, oh, there's just a bunch of liberals. It's just a bunch of people. The professors are liberal. The things that they teach are very liberal. They don't really have conservative values. They don't promote conservative values. And it's like, again, if you have a problem with the way that the schools are structured in terms of values, we all know this. This is public knowledge. You can't, when you have all of this knowledge that all of these schools are embedded within the left-wing movement, and and the way that they do things is very left-leaning, it's very progressive. That's all common knowledge. You should know that going into it. And you might have a problem with it, and you kind of complain about it, like we all complain about things. But I'm just saying that you can't just claim ignorance. You can say, well, these colleges, I didn't know. I didn't know that they were so liberal. I didn't know that they were so left leaning. This is common knowledge, folks. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a firm grasp on the way that these colleges operate. And if you're going to go to school, that's just something that you have to deal with. If you want to go to college, you just kind of have to deal with it. You kind of just have to suck it up. No, they don't hold your values. No, they don't necessarily. They might not teach conservative ways of thinking, but that's just the way things are. And you cannot claim ignorance about that. That is not the school's fault. They're not scamming you into going to a place that doesn't hold your values. Okay? We should know that going into it. We should it's been well documented so far that colleges are left leaning, they have a lot of liberal influence, they have a lot of progressive influence, and that's just the way it is. And does it suck? To a certain extent, yeah, it kind of stinks. Do you wish that conservative values were more represented on a regular basis across the country in various different college campuses? Yeah, and I mean, you can find colleges that have conservative viewpoints for sure, but generally speaking, do you wish that they took on a more conservative point of view? Absolutely. But it's like it's hard for me to feel bad for you when you're complaining about cost and when you're complaining about influence, when the cost and the sacrifice and the influences that will be in the college atmosphere have all been readily available for you to research and study this whole time. And I feel bad for young people. I feel bad for maybe their parents didn't teach them about the pitfalls of student debt, and maybe they didn't do the research beforehand. And I can have compassion to a certain extent that they don't feel like their values are represented, or that they have fallen into a financial pit essentially. I can feel bad for them and I can have compassion on them for that. But again, it's kind of hard for me just to go whining, "Oh, college is a scam," and whine and cry about it like everybody, like some other conservatives do, when all of the information about going to college is readily available from the start. They're not hiding anything from you. They're not keeping any secrets from you. They are blatantly and obviously expensive and liberal. Colleges are expensive and liberal, and you should know that going in. And also, one thing I will say this, it kind of sucks if you're a young person and you're looking forward to going to college and using that as your opportunity to find yourself and be free and to experience the college life. People go to college and they want to just, yeah, get my degree and learn a couple things, but they also want to go to college and they want to party, they want to get drunk, they want to sleep around, they want to do all of these different things. And what I'm saying is that if you're going to make an investment that is worth $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, even like 15 or $20,000, if you're going to make a decision that is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, that stuff should be nowhere near the top of the list in terms of priorities. And you might say, well, it's not fair to me because college was more affordable back then and young people could go and they wouldn't have to worry about it. And I'm sorry, but you just have to be aware of these things. You have to, if you think that the system is unfair, the system is unfair, you're going to have to recalibrate a little bit. Okay, you're just going to have to understand that you can't just whine and complain. Well, it's different than it ever was. I'm just telling you that if you're going to drop If you're going to drop 50 plus $1,000 on a degree, then you should go and you should study hard and you should work hard. You should get what you're paying for, and all of these other things, the sleeping around, the getting drunk, the partying, all of those things should be at the bottom of the list of priorities because it simply costs you too much money to be distracted by all of these different things. Okay, you need to be, if that's what I'm saying. If there's anything, if I made an investment that cost $50,000, if I made an investment that's going to cost me $100,000, I am going to get my money's worth and I'm going to know the ins and outs. It's the same thing if you were investing in the stock market. You know, you throw I piddle around with the stock market, okay? But I'm not throwing around gigantic sums of money, okay? $50 here, $50 there, a little bit every paycheck just to see where it goes. Nothing extravagant, nothing too insane. And so I'm kind of just like a casual user of the stock market. I'm holding out. Maybe in 10 years it'll be worth something. Maybe in 10 years I'll have enough to actually see something come back to me in terms of dividends, right? But if I was making a $50,000 investment in the stock market, if I was making a $100 investment in the stock market, I would not, yeah, I wouldn't spend all my time partying. I would know the stock, I would spend all of my time studying the stock market and making my decisions and educating myself so I can make good decisions. Okay, because the cost is too much. The cost is too much not to be engaged. The cost is too much not to know the ins and outs of everything. Okay, it's the same thing with real estate. It's the same thing with any kind of investment. Okay, if you got a side hustle and you're mowing yards and you've got a couple yards you mow during the summer, and that's kind of all it is. You just have a couple, you just yeah, I have my push mower, whatever. It's a side hustle. I don't need to know the in-depth aspects of taking care of the yard and landscaping. But if I'm going to go out and I'm going to spend $25,000 on equipment and I'm going to spend a bunch of money on marketing, then yeah, I'm going to do my research and I'm going to study and I'm going to know the ins and outs of that particular way of making a living. I'm going to do all my research on landscaping. I'm going to know everything about it. I'm not going to spend my time fooling around with all this other nonsense. And the same is true with school. If you're going to go out, you're going to drop tens of thousands of dollars. Sorry, you don't really get the luxury of partying all the time. The cost is too great. The sacrifice is too much, and so you might as well go in, get your degree, get what you paid for, get out, and hopefully use it in some kind of productive way, and use that knowledge in some kind of productive way. And so I am very pro college. But one thing that I did, and and I would say that in the end it saved me quite a bit of money, is that I am not particularly, or was not back when I was going to school, I was not interested in the various different social aspects of college stuff. And so, why do I need to go to a larger college? Why do I need to go to a more well known college? I just went to community college. Okay, I took the classes I was supposed to take. I got the credits I was supposed to get. I got the degree I went in to get, and I it was much cheaper, and I wasn't distracted by all these other things. And so was it perfect? Is community college perfect? No. Is it set up in the best way? No. And is the teaching the same that you would find if you were paying a lot more per semester? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, I still have a degree. I didn't spend an exorbitant amount of money. I was able to work while going to school, so I could help pay for it. And so I'm just saying that the social aspect of college should be all the way over here. Should be all the way at the bottom of the list. And making sure you get your money's worth should be at the top of the list. Studying and doing well should be at the top of the list. And go to community college. At least get your the pre-studies, the basic, the math, the English, the prerequisites that you have for these other degrees. At least go to community college and go get those out of the way. There are other options available, and I understand. Well, you don't have community college around where you live, then okay, then your situation is a little bit different. But I'm saying that you need to prioritize appropriately, you need to research appropriately, you need to focus appropriately, and you need to weigh your options. You need to weigh your options. Okay, if this degree is not going to be an easy one to get, or it's going to cost you a ton of money, and you're not going to see a payback on it within a reasonable amount of time, then it's probably not worth it. It's probably not worth it. And I think the people that they're not making a good living with the degree that they have, I think that's more so about the degree that they chose as opposed to college being a scam, right? Do your research. Okay, if the demand for some random four-year bachelor's degree and something that's nonsensical and not really even applicable to any kind of trade, then let's not do that. Let's do something else. Let's do our research beforehand so we can pick something that's a little bit more profitable. And so I don't think people find themselves in this situation because college is a scam. I think it's because that they are uneducated about the true cost and they're financially illiterate. And I don't say that to be mean necessarily. I'm just saying that people just don't educate themselves beforehand and they don't really think about the long-term financial cost and how it's going to hurt them in the future. You can you can blame that on them, you can blame it on the parents, whatever. But college is not a scam. People just don't do the proper amount of research beforehand that will benefit them in the long term.